Hey there, my name is Acanuro. I think we can all agree that playing Android games at a young age can be the most comfortable experience. Wasting a day away on your phone or tablet, not having any responsibilities around the house? Yeah, that kind of experience. And in the library of games you collected on your device, you know nothing is more fun than your multiplayer games. Multiplayer on Android has a tough perspective on nowadays. Most people know the majority of these games are usually pay to win, or just filled with so many offers, ad placements, and paywalls for items, that it feels almost wrong to play so normally. You could say Android games in the past had these features as well, and while that may have been true, you should understand that in the world of Android that I used to play, multiplayer was really something else at the time. A simplistic, more casual multiplayer made me really miss some of the games I played. And while I know they've all shifted towards this new concept now, I can't help but look back on what they once provided for a lot of young players, and what exactly made them feel so great. So let's look back on what I once played, and see just how much of a staple these games were for their time.
This is SQ1 to actual. Do you read? Over.
5x5 SQ1, what's your status?
Orbital position beginning approach. Please confirm landing coordinates for San Francisco.
Confirm.
Nova 3. Being one of the very first games I picked up on Android, Nova 3 was a hell of an experience in all ways. Gameloft were the ones behind the structure before they became money hungry and ruined the game's franchise with the horrible remake that effaces everything the fans learned about. Oh my god! But besides that, this game became the face of a great time on Android. Even if Gameloft, being the ones who based their work off existing properties, did end up getting a little too inspired off the sci-fi shooter series, Nova 3 feels pretty good at being, you know, what they call original. The game is known not only for its multiplayer, but its story as well. That's right folks, if you didn't believe me before, well let me tell you, Gameloft really were passionate back in the day. Even though that's not so hard-hitting in truth, I honestly can't help but praise the way this game was made. It's very appealing in both modes it offers. The campaign gives you missions with a gritty atmosphere filled with plenty of enemies to offer a challenge. And the multiplayer puts you in maps that can change from quite small in size to, oh shoot, now I have to search for the enemy. I never played the game too much in the years that I once stood tall on the Play Store, but with it being gone for so long, I really had to play it again. I mean, how else did I write this script? So yeah, I downloaded the necessary files a while back, and turned it into an APK. Of course the story is very good, and surprisingly the multiplayer is still alive and kicking through Wi-Fi. So I set up a local account for the multiplayer to get back to the experience, and... yeah, it's ruined by hackers, but depending on the time and place you're in, people can set things up to be a fun time. I've gotten into matches where people hack the game in a more friendly way, spawning every player with a sniper weapon and having a big sniper battle on a large map. Or even just casual players, who like to go the vanilla route like me and play fair with standard weapons. Hackers usually give themselves unlimited jetpack ammo, and if you think that's bad enough, they also like to use invincibility on top of that. Can't have one without the other, I suppose. Apart from the multiplayer having fairly limited features, such as maps and weapons variety, the game modes are unique for the time, as well as the vehicles. I mean, which other Android game had this kind of immersive HUD when you're in a mech? The game's graphics and lighting are still looking crisp and sharp, and if you're a real analyzer of small details, the only thing that's going to throw you off is the textures in some places. But besides that, everything else gives this game a true feel of realism and immersion, especially to me in the last few levels. Picking up Nova 3 today, on Android specifically, is kind of a tough workaround, but if you want to give it a shot, I can link the tutorial I followed down in the description.
Pixel Gun 3D.
Pixel Gun 3D. Oh man, this is pretty hard to stomach for me. Okay, I'll say it now. Pixel Gun 3D had a disappointing evolution. You don't even know what I'm talking about yet. I'll explain that in a bit. If you ever played this game in its prime, you will know what everyone's loved about it, and what made it so great. It wasn't like any other Minecraft type competitor, no. This one had style, creativity, and loads of passion radiating in its gameplay. At least in the early years. This is why Pixel Gun was once a classic for all phones. No matter which phone you were on, or which OS, there were always new people to meet, with a good amount of new players coming every now and then. Usually for a lot of people in my time, it became more of a chatting game than a competitive ranking game. This was all because of the chat box feature. It's also the same cause for kids turning into a dating game, but we're not going to talk about that right now. People around me would spend matches just using the chat box feature and sending messages around, and I did the same. It was really fun making friends in the game rather than grinding for items and weapons all the time. And even when you did grind, you were certainly playing the heck out of each game mode to earn money. Oblivious side note, I still think this menu is killer. You see, there was just multiplayer, because similar to Nova 3 at the time, this game also had a campaign. And survival as well if you wanted to be a true Chad. Each game mode will give you coins, and these coins respawn items you probably wouldn't find in the game anymore. With a lot of old items now gone, you would assume the game must be constantly changing. And well, would you like to see what kind of behemoth Pixel Gun 3D has become in recent years?
Oh my god. He's shit everywhere. There's shit everywhere! Damn it! He's shit everywhere! Look what he did! He's shit all over the wall!
The game has really gotten stale over time, as the devs kind of changed a little too much about it. Leveling has become a painful drag, coins are being earned in smaller amounts, and items are even worse in prices. So I think because of all of this, it deserves a proper title. Unlike Nova 3, I wouldn't recommend playing Pixel Gun now if it's going to be your first time jumping into it. It would most likely be a letdown in the grind that you have to endure. Don't take this as a reason to not play the game. I truly have no criticism for liking it in its current state. There's just something about the early years where everything was much more simplistic, and that will always reflect on the time that once was. I mean, what good does it have now? As a parkour mode. That's kinda cool. Call of Mini Zombies. Sometimes you don't really think about how far back some Android games go. I guess a lot of people don't look at Call of Mini Zombies that way. This was something I played casually and never held onto for too long, but it did give me a good time for what it was. This is a survival multiplayer game, where you would fight zombies in waves and levels that often come with the boss at the end. It also had standard multiplayer modes like Team Deathmatch, of course the only modes that had zombies. The game was pretty well held up for its time running on Android. I don't have too much to say about it since it wasn't something I played too often, but I will say nowadays it's not too much worth downloading. Based on the reviews I've gathered, most people are saying the aspect of multiplayer has been completely gone for quite some time now. And even with that off the grid, the developers Trading Interactive have labeled the game, as well as most of their other titles, as 10,000% off. Sounds kinda silly to me. If you ever want to get into the game currently, for what I assume is solo zombie survival, then that's a completely legit experience. I mean, yeah, the multiplayer might be gone, but it is solely a zombie based game, so playing it now would mean you still get what you came for. That's the heavy truth of how a game changes over time, and I suppose it means it wouldn't just apply to a platform console game only. With such a game having this long of a lifespan, you would assume change has to be made somehow. I mean, development is always improving due to updates, but as years go by, you do see how much everything about a game can completely shift, for the better or worse. That's why I see how Call of Mini is in so much of a negative state, since it's pretty much lived so long that it was bound to wear out sooner than ever. Like I said, zombie survival, you get what you came for, what's there not to enjoy? You say the multiplayer is gone? Huh, did it really need it all the same? Wait, there's a multiplayer game too? Oh, there's a multiplayer game too? So those are just some of the biggest and most played Android multiplayer games of old. It's real fun to look back on the kind of tone and genre each of these offered, with the Nova 3 being a flashy first-person shooter set with a Halo undertone, Pixel Gun 3D having its direct Minecraft style, with it being a shooter that didn't mind taking things to the absolute extreme. And how about Call of Mini's cartoon start style, that showed how it took a lot of inspiration off of, well, I guess Minigore. And even though all of these games were diverse in this manner, I like to think about what kinds of small communities they all garnished. Nova, as a series, is very unknown, because I mean, hey, it's gameloft and they wipe out the older titles, but Nova 3 did have a way of being engaging with its players. The game once held tournaments among its active player base. I assume they're still running on iOS, since over there it surprisingly continues to stand tall in the App Store. Currently for Android though, while the APK is usable and the multiplayer is functioning, tournaments are gone with the old gameloft. This is just one of the ways a lot of these games plan to hold their community alive for a good long time. I mean, sure, everything is subject to change. It's the same reason why multiplayer or even the whole game is defaced after users staying active. The communities just seem to diminish over time, and that's understandable for any game. It does seem rather painful if you grew up with a lot of this stuff, but that same wave of death can happen to any game driver on the market today. It could possibly be a few years or close to a decade, but one day the next Android game you see, be it multiplayer or not, will always have its ways of growing old. Thanks for watching this thoughtful piece, as I'm so glad I chose to express my thoughts and opinions on some of the once great games I played with many other kids on Android. If you enjoyed the topic and what I had to say, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. I'm always having something in plan, so share it with a friend or family member and let them know what kind of stuff interests you, because maybe they'll enjoy it as well. Until next time, this is Acanuro, and I'll see you guys.